I didn't realize how hard it was going to be to talk after that. How do you do anything after that? So, Terra, you grew up in Sacramento. Tell us what that was like, and tell us about how you first discovered music.
So I'm from South Sacramento, and yes. And if you've been there, if you spent time there or have lived there, it's or it was at least, very desolate, lot of space. And so as a kid, it made me feel so restless because I just wanted energy. I wanted life around me. But it also gave me so much time to hear my voice, to try to figure out what it is, what my voice was, what I wanted to sound like. So there was such a loneliness living in South Sacramento that I didn't really appreciate until I was an adult, because that loneliness and that time gave me so much time to just spend in front of my mirror. I did the classic, like, sing to my teddy bear. I was Elvis. I was Otis Redding. I was, for hours, I would like daydream at school of my radio. And that there was, if y'all know, there was an AM station that only played 50s music. And I was obsessed with it. And so much so that my dad had to tell me, like, hey, you cannot bring your radio to dinner, like to the dinner table. You have to. And there was no time during that, like, time was gone. There was just me and the mirror. And that was like how I dealt with a lot and I didn't know it at the time, but that was how I was processing, like, life around me. And I just absolutely fell in love with music. Like, nothing else mattered. It was either reading or music, and that was it.
That's obvious. When you picked up the book, we were like, oh, God, that was brilliant. So I want to tell a little tiny story. The first time that I saw Terra perform was actually about 22 or 23 years ago in San Francisco. I was running in this big group of people that I only really put it together later were all from Sacramento. And this would have been like 2003 or 2004. And this was a moment where, like, now everybody can, like, make beats on their phones. They can, like, we can make a robot make us music if we really want to. But back then it was like the tech was still quite new, and getting the computer generated sounds to integrate with instruments was a real challenge. It was a real technical challenge in a live space. And when we saw Kyoto Beat Orchestra, which was her group at the time, we were just like, they figured it out, how they cracked the code. And there were only two of them, but it felt like a full band because they were scurrying all over the stage the entire time. And even then, I knew that Terra was a reader because she would preface songs by saying, this song is about what happens to you when you read too much Karl Marx or something like that. Like, so even back then, I knew you were my people. So tell us about the sort of, like, highlights of your various projects, because you've been all over the map style-wise. Tell us about that, and then tell us, like, kind of how you got to working with these guys.
Yeah, gosh, it's been a journey. Wow, and it has been, like, over 20 years. I just also want to shout out Laura Lynn Gilmore, who came back there, incredible artist, and was like, I've been an OG fan since Kyoto Beat Orchestra days, which is so cool that people still know about that band. But it was, I fell in love with trip hop and I fell in love with jazz. And that was what that band was. It was a duo, and we blended hip hop, trip hop, and jazz. And that's just kind of evolved over time. Sister Crayon started as an alter ego because I'm very shy. I'm a very shy person. That's why I sing with my eyes closed. Or stare at the ceiling. But Sister Crayon, I was drunk one night writing a letter to someone, and I signed it Sister Crayon. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And so that became my alter ego. And I was playing a house show, actually, on the kitchen floor playing a house show, and the Sacramento Bee wrote about it. And that was the first time I had ever like gotten in any press. And from there, I played a show in a garage, and a label from LA signed me. And that started everything for me, and then became an international thing. And it really was just like playing a house show, literally on a kitchen floor, like using the refrigerator as a beat, you know? And then Sister Crayon became this bigger than life thing that I had no expectations for. And we signed to Warner Brothers, and we did a whole lot of other stuff. And then I decided I didn't want that alter ego anymore. It didn't fit myself. It didn't fit my life. And it really was after losing my dad and after losing my best friend in the course of 6 months, I realized they knew me as that. I can't continue without them in that way. And so I changed it to Rituals of Mine. It was from a song lyric, from a Sister Crayon song lyric. And so fast forward to last year, I grabbed coffee with Jacob from Lab Rats. And within like 5 minutes, I knew. I was like, okay, you're my people. And I was like, so do you want to drum for me? And he, we were like, yeah, let's do it. And then he was like, I might know a bass player that might be interested. I'm like, oh yeah, let's do it. And it was Miguel. He was like, I might know a keys player that might be interested. And it was Joey. And so it just happened so naturally. We've been playing together for about a year now. And actually next month will be the anniversary of our first show together, a year. And it's just been so incredible. I feel like I learned so much from them. We come from such different worlds. I come from the more like indie electronic space, and they obviously come from different spaces. And I feel like we're able to teach each other a lot. And playing with them has brought out such different aspects of my voice that I really wasn't even aware of. So I feel like we're just kind of like tapping into it just now.
Beautiful. I was listening to Endure recently. Congratulations on that, by the way. It's so beautiful. And I just kind of had like a nerdy songwriting question for you, which is that I noticed that in particular in that album, but a theme that kind of comes up in a lot of your music that is really interesting to me is this theme of like struggling to live an authentic life. This like based on just what you said about the alter ego, right? And about like these sort of like layers of our, public and private and contending with the world. Like it seems like that is like a really like that's a really deep vein that you sort of plumb in a lot of your lyrics. And then there's this other aspect to your lyrics too, which is that sort of like classic R&B, like romantic audience of one is what we would call it in the erotica trade.
Oh, I love that.
And so
you might have just unlocked like finally the answer to what kind of music do you make. I never know how to answer that.
Right.
Will you repeat it?
Okay. Well, let me see if I can. Okay, so it feels like there's sort of like two elements going with your writing style. And that is the one of like, self versus world kind of, and that real struggle to live an authentic life. And then the other part is like how that struggle comes up against another person, against your relationships, like where those two things meet. And that was kind of what I was noticing in your lyrics. Is that a good?
Thank you. That was so insightful. That was amazing. I don't know how to answer that. I just think endure is one of my favorite words of all time. And it, as you can tell, I have a lot of words tattooed onto my body. And just word, I could go on forever for how powerful and just like life-saving, like truly, like I think about survival a lot. I think it's no small thing for us to get up every day and to live and be human and to understand ourselves and understand each other and communicate. And like, it's so wild to be a human, and it's so much, and there's so much. And just being a human alone, but then loving another human, you make it easy. But it's so wild to even like be a friend with someone. I mean, think about that. Like, just like the different moods and whatnot. And so I just think we endure a lot as people and really need to give ourselves some grace and be just more, just more kind to ourselves. And I'm saying this really for myself, first and foremost. I'm not preaching it. I need to do that as well. But yeah, I just think the concept of, I got into music because I always say this, but it's the cheapest form of therapy for me at the time. It really was. And that's how I was like getting through my day to day. And luckily I have more tools now, but music is still the way that I navigate the world and try to like process and understand how to be myself in a world that really, really tells you not to be.
Yeah, I definitely see that. And how lucky we are that that was the form of therapy you chose. Please keep going to therapy. I want to ask you about this book because I know it had such a huge impact on you when you read it the first time. And it's a very unusual book. The book we're talking about here is Fernando Pessoa, the book of Disquiet. And we're talking about art as therapy. And this book was published some 40 years after he died, and it was found in like a trunk, and it wasn't complete or in any kind of order. So you don't read it really beginning to end, right? It's kind of a book that you just open and close a little bit. But tell me about what this book did for you, and did it inform your lyrics, your songwriting at all?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I found I always say like books find you. That book found me. Yeah. That book found me in 2006, and I just remember reading the first word, the first sentence, and being floored to the point where I could only read a page at a time. Like, it was too sacred for me to like try to read through. And I really do mean it. I have not allowed myself to finish that book. I have 5 pages left and I refuse. Maybe on like my deathbed, I'll be like, give me the book of Disquiet, please. But I just don't ever want it to end. I think like I became sick with obsession with that book. So much so I have a Pessoa tattoo. I have an Ophelia tattoo. He was incredible because he fell in love with this woman named Ophelia and never told her. She was a coworker. And so he started writing all the pages. There were 40,000 pages in this trunk when he died that they found. And they were all to Ophelia. And they were about life, love, just his thoughts and whatnot. And like, no one knew him while he was alive. And I just find that to be so tragic, but also really powerful that like, it is now a book that, I mean, there's statues of him now in Lisbon, and like, he is heralded. And I think, I love existentialism. I love thinking about life. I love thinking about what's the meaning of it all, or like, look at that leaf. It's so beautiful. There's so many stories in there. And like, there's like such a romance that I hope I never lose. And he like reaffirms it for me.
Beautiful. Oh my goodness. So come and get your copy. Just a couple more quick questions. Tell us about an artist in Sacramento. It doesn't have to be a musician necessarily, but just an artist that you're paying attention to that is giving you something.
Yeah, I mean, I have to shout out Lab Rats, of course. They're just crushing it, and just like such I mean, they're incredible musicians, but at the end of the day, I would be lying if I said that didn't matter to me. Of course, you want to play with incredible musicians, but they're even better humans, and that's what I really care about, is like, who am I spending my time with? And they're amazing. They very much so move me. I really, really love Rudy Kalma. He's an incredible rapper and producer, and just someone that is working on an album that I think is really, really beautiful. And as far as an artist, there's this artist, Jupiter. We have a Jupiter piece in our bedroom, and I fall asleep every single night looking at that piece. And I just think Jupiter's work is incredible. Jupiter's personality, just all of it is just really inspiring.
Awesome. Does anybody have a question for Terra? It's okay if the answer is no. I know I covered a lot of ground. Thank you so much for being here, for gracing the bookstore with your music, and for being the first guest at the Stacks.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Let's give it up for Miranda.
Thank you.
It is no small thing to create a cultural hub, and this is what this is. So really just want to give you your flowers, because we need spaces like this more than ever. So yeah, thank you so much for having us. It really means so much. And seriously, for y'all like coming out, this is such a fun, unique experience to be able to sit down with like-minded people and be amongst books and know that you're around folks who care about that kind of stuff. Means a lot to me. So thank you.
Thank you so much.